Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 105. This podcast is about anything and everything related to Destiny the game. If you love playing Destiny as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we invite our friend ImTheBlueRanger back on the show as we catch up on Destiny 2 news, discuss the semantics of carry culture, and finally chat about our thoughts on the Destiny 2 beta. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT and, of course, CyborgSasquatch. Hello, dude.
Hello, my friend.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I've had a really fun week.
Yeah.
Playing the Destiny 2 beta.
I was gonna say we've had something pretty fun to play this week.
It's been busy, man. Just been hard at it on the controls this week.
Squeeze in as much time.
Absolutely. How are you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm great. I fit in. I crunched in like a lot of the beta in one day, and then I kind of sprinkled some in here and there. Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, had some family time this past weekend, did a little day trip. Everything's good, dude. It's really hot where I'm at, like 105, 110 degrees.
Yeah, it's not that hot here, but it's hot.
Yeah. We were driving in the car. Our car said it was 100 degrees. So, like with the humidity and heat index, it
were
was
your
like
tires melting?
Right. How about you, dude? How's your week been?
Concern. Oh man, this is like the time of year where every weekend it's a birthday party.
Oh yeah.
So there's a birthday party, at least one, if not two, and then work stuff to do over the weekend, and then getting, the house in order and all the family chores, and it's, but before you know it, the weekend's over and I'm going back to work tomorrow.
Work week starting again.
Because it's Sunday.
Yep.
Recording on a Sunday this week, guys. BT dubs.
Yep. Speaking of, I already told you, but I missed the farm hour window today because I was doing chores around the house.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yes, we will. We got somebody else here this week?
Yeah. Let's welcome back on the show our friend, our pal, ImTheBlueRanger. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, guys. I'm doing well.
Hey, dude.
I'm doing well.
I was waiting for you just to jump in there. We usually just bring you in right at the same moment.
Yeah, this time you didn't make me stand behind a curtain for 15 minutes, so it was nice.
The only thing that they didn't know that it was actually supposed to be like 25 minutes, but we were just scooting through the content too fast.
Yep.
I'm standing back there like peeking through. I'm just like, I wonder if things are going great out there. I hope everything's cool. This is great. All right.
This is fine.
Da-da-da-da-da.
They forget about me? Like
anytime.
We haven't had you back since we got back from Guardian Con.
Well, that
was the last time everybody heard from you on the show. What you been up to since you got back, man?
Lots of stuff. Lots of cool things. I've been playing lots of games. Getting back in the swing of work has been tough because after Guardian Con, I was in Orlando for an entire week after that, which a 12-day vacation sounds like an awesome idea, but like 9 days in, I'm thinking, I think I'm good. I think I've had enough of this.
Dude,
but it wasn't bad or anything, and I enjoyed my time, but I got back, and it's been really hard to get back into the swing of work, and so I've been doing a lot of that, and I changed my stream schedule up to focus on my health and losing weight and enjoying the summer and everything, so I'm having this really weird switch back from vacation into this now from 5 to 7 days a week down to like 2 to 4 days a week streaming, mostly like 3-ish days a week. It's really weird, and so I've got all this free time and stuff. It's been kind of different, but not bad. Not a bad thing.
Nice. Disciplined schedule. Sounds good.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working towards that,
We'll get there.
That's
I
good.
hear you
That's
on
good.
that. Well, good to have you back on, man. I'm excited to hear what both of you guys think about what we've played this week.
It'll be a good show.
I'm sure the audience is as well. Hopefully everybody out there got a chance to jump in on the beta action this past week.
We'll wait and see who it is when the show goes live, but we always get a couple tweets or this or that, how much they enjoy Blue on the show. So we'll see who it is this time.
Everyone.
You got some fans, buddy.
Got a couple
Some
fan
girls. I heard they're starting a fan club.
Ooh, I gotta make shirts.
Yeah.
I think you have shirts.
I'll buy one.
But like, I gotta make my own derp shirt though, right?
Derp fan.
Like
derp
a
fan.
Blue
Just-
Ranger
I'll just
exclusive shirt.
I just make bring blue back shirts. And
There you go.
Dude, instead of
blue on.
hashtag derp fam, you could totally just completely play off of us and do hashtag derp fan. There you go, man. And then we won't invite you. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, did we get licensing on that? I probably.
Hold
we
on a
should talk
second.
to
Hold
him
on a
about
second. Wait a second.
How
Did
many
he sell
times
more-
have you been on the show?
Yeah, I mean, there's a point of contention there, I think, that needs to be addressed real quick. A couple
Really?
weeks ago, you had a Woodhouse on. A great guest, loved the conversations. But in the beginning, you guys celebrated something. You guys celebrated the 5-time club, and he was the first member of the 5-time club. Well, I regret to inform Mr. Woodhouse that this is actually my 7th time on the show.
Oh,
So,
Man.
due to the fact that it happened and, Steve Harvey didn't hand off the wrong trophy or anything. It was just a miscommunication. I'll let him be the 1st to the 5th, but I'm going to continue to hold on to the 1st to the 6th and the 7th, and we can go from there.
Yeah, we didn't realize
good.
you'd been on.
I mean,
that
officially,
much, man.
all he said was he was the first of the club. See, your problem is you didn't start a club at 5.
Oh.
Oh, I don't need to run another club. He can run the club. That's just
He
that's just a
likes to run
figurehead.
clubs. Now that I think about it,
Banned. No.
fair enough. Yeah, he likes to run clubs so that he can kick people out.
I'll just
I
say
honestly,
honest.
dude, we were talking before the show. I honestly did not realize you'd been on that many shows already.
I
I knew
didn't.
you've been on several times, but holy cow.
I hadn't thought about it until I heard him talking about it. He's like, "Yep, first time with 5 times on the show." And I'm like, "How many times have I been on the show?"
I remember thinking, like, Blue has got to be close. I mean, he's got to be really close. How has he not been on 5 times?
I think it's hard to remember that because they've been really dense. Like, you guys have been doing this for 2 years. I've only known you guys for a year. So, Woodhouse definitely he's probably guested before you guys even know I existed, so I understand the confusion by all means, but I mean, facts is facts and scoreboard. So,
Well, you're both important to us.
I know,
Well,
I'm
we
just
apologize for the fake news,
the
and we will be sure to check our sources from now on and not be pundits to Mr. Woodhouse's narrative that he's pushing about. Sorry.
Well, there we go.
Here's my resignation.
We'll call that our announcement for the week because we don't have
Yeah.
any.
Yeah, that's our announcement.
the announcement is Blue
So how
is
about
back.
some news?
News. Plenty of news thanks to IGN every
Yep.
week. Yes.
And this has been a busy week with everything that's been going on. But first, let's crack open the TWAB, if I may.
yes.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So, of course, this week at Bungie, they're talking about the beta. And remind us that you get a cool emblem if you were taking part in that. And one thing I thought that was notable, I mean, of course, they're just kind of talking about what the beta is, which they say, aside from testing our processes and services, the beta is also an opportunity for us to collect feedback and data to help us close out the final tuning for the game. I think that's understandable. They bring up that the PvE game tuning has changed pretty significantly since the beta build was deployed. The nature of a beta of this scale requires that it's based off a build of the game that is now months old. So in many cases, your feedback is helping us validate changes that were previously made based on internal feedback and play testing. They go on to say power ammo was too scarce. They've changed the drop rates and they built a system that guarantees power ammo drops from certain enemies. They talked about this in May at the DRE.
Mm-hmm.
I find it really strange that we're playing a build that's older than the build we played at the DRE.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. It's interesting.
I understand that I don't understand the technical processes of them having to load up the game on all of their server architecture and everything that goes along with that. And I don't know how long that takes, but if you're going to roll out a beta, and it be your first impression of what the game is going to be, I just feel like some of the things that they're backpedaling, to not have a better word to use, on, were not fixed in this version of the game we're playing. I don't know.
Well, plus it makes you think, we'll chat about it in a minute, but we hear from Lars a little bit too, and it makes you think, they're more so definitely clearly testing the technical side of their new model, server model, and all that kind of stuff versus actually more so, PvP tuning or, power ammo is one thing, but you can see they focus a lot on PvE stuff here. So, if they're, like you said, if they're giving us an old build and they've already made changes, whether it be gun damage or power weapon ammo drops, like it's clearly probably, again, just like you, I don't know for sure the process of this, but it's stress testing the majority of the time, right? They're wanting to see if their new systems work.
I don't know. I have a particular point I want to drive home on this topic, but I'm going to save it for the actual discussion later on the show, because I really want to hear what both of you think about all of this, and we don't want to pull this thread too long.
Yeah. That sounds
Blue, you got anything to say on this before we...
I guess I should kind of open up real quick with the whole episode here and just kind of put a mild trigger warning on here that I am not a Bungie apologist and I'm not 100% thrilled with what we were shown. That being said, when they come out halfway through a beta that isn't being received great, and I understand that there's a lot of people who loved it, and that's awesome. I want every game to be loved by their fans, etc., all that stuff. But by the broader gaming community, the beta was received as like it was a Destiny game. That's kind of what I've been hearing and reading and understanding from reviewers and people that I enjoy on YouTube. And to hear them come out in the middle of this beta that's getting a pretty review from a lot of people that aren't Destiny fans, to have them say, by the way, this isn't what we are working on right now. This is just stress testing. We're just seeing what works. We're kind of pushing the servers. We're kind of seeing if everything's going to run all right. I sit there and go, why would you have me test drive? Like, if I'm going to look for a car, why would you have me test drive a car that's not the final model that I'm going to buy? Why would you? I don't understand, because you have people that are going to decide whether or not to buy this game based on this beta. And to say, well, this isn't actually what you're getting, and this isn't even what we're working on anymore, just seems almost like an excuse. And I don't know where I land on it yet.
This dropped obviously 2 days after the beta started, so there was plenty of feedback coming in.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we want to try to be as critical as we can, because we feel like that is not only is the beta for technical data, but they really want, I feel like they're putting it out there that they really want to hear feedback. And so we're going to do our absolute best here to give our most honest feedback. And sometimes on the show, we really try to remain positive and focus on what we like and what we can't change. But we're in a position here where we really need to give 100% honest feedback on what we like and also what we really don't like. So you might hear some opinions that are not 100% supportive of what we played. I think it's coming from a place, not saltiness, but just because we love the game, that we want to be as critical as we can, because this is an opportunity we have to be critical and for that feedback to be impactive in some way.
Yeah, and we mentioned, I don't know, was it last week? We mentioned that we just wanted to be excited. We wanted to play the beta. Like, we're not sure, the different things we'll be able to, I specifically mentioned, sure, we can give feedback on 4v4 and things like that. But, at the same time, it kind of, like you said, they seem like they're asking for it. Like, they want to hear it from us. So it's like, okay, well, all right, we'll do that.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to keep it in the best frame of mind that we can, understanding that we're all here in the first place because we love this game. So anything that we say is because we want the best version of Destiny 2 that we can get, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm actually having a hard time driving home to people that, according to Wasted on Destiny, I have 2,000 hours in this game, and that's just inactivity time on D1. So, I mean, this game has literally changed the course of my life. And to have a beta come out that doesn't wow me has actually affected me emotionally in ways I wouldn't have expected from other games. So this isn't just because I'm coming in here just throwing baseballs at your China because I hate you. Like I enjoy these games, and I want Destiny 2 to be amazing. And I think it's okay that I'm disappointed as much as I wish I wasn't.
Okay. Well, all right, so now disclaimers are out of the way. Let's continue on with the TWAB here. Arrow, can you tell me what you took from Lars's discussion here on matchmaking?
Well, I thought it was interesting, how quickly we jump into the way matchmaking works. Wasn't it forever in Destiny 1 before we got them to open up and kind of talk about that?
Yeah.
It was well into the process, right? So, he jumps right in and talks about how, the evolution obviously is geared towards the 4v4 format, and they are still putting a greater emphasis on connection quality. But they want you to be fighting worthy opponents. The biggest thing I took out of his little section here was that what we're not seeing in the beta is right now both modes, quick play and competitive, are the same, if you will.
Let's call it true skill, or
right.
ELO or whatever term, because there's not an internal term that they give us to call it. But
whereas he says with the final game, quick play, how does he say it?
Quick play skill is tracked separately from your competitive skill, unquote.
Yeah, and he says, what was it? Something about your mood when you go in. Yeah. They're designed to serve different moods, quick play and competitive. So that's what we'll see in the final game.
Which I totally get. Like, I've gone in like, hey, let's play some quick play to warm up and have a little fun. And then when we get into competitive, it's like, all right, let's go. Let's do this, right? So I completely get what they're trying to do with that.
Right. He says at the very top of it, their goals for Destiny 2 are provide a great experience for players who enjoy competitive PvP activities and ensure that players who enjoy PvP have fair and fun matches. Dude, I saw a tweet out by True Vanguard today. He's like, we are not in a fire team. And it was a screenshot of being match made. It was him, the Manganator, and Imtashed, and there was one other. They were all matched.
And they all matched into each other?
Yeah, they all matched into each other. Two of them might have been together, but I was like, holy cow. Like, it is definitely... I'm sure they were playing Countdown. But I really hope that with the final game, like he's saying here, you can jump into... Like, if you're just jumping on for a couple games... A lot of people that play Destiny Crucible, they just want to... We've heard it a million times. They want to jump in, have a good time. They don't want to sweat. Like, hopefully quick play, that playlist will more so serve that role.
It would be ideal if the quick play matchmaking settings were completely, I wouldn't say completely, maybe the majority based on connection quality.
Right.
And then the competitive,
it's like you almost want to just turn
skill
off,
based,
right?
Yeah.
Just turn it off.
Yeah.
That's like you don't want people getting pub stomped left and right, but at the same time, just let it matchmake however it matchmakes, and then if you want to sweat a little more, then you go over to competitive.
Yeah. It's funny though, because going into the game before the beta started, everybody was like, there will be no skill-based matchmaking. Like, there will be no algorithm determining, like, it'll be completely public. And I saw all these, PvP streamers, and they're like, oh, I just can't wait to pub stomp. I can't wait to go in. And then sure enough, like, after a day in, everybody's like, oh God, there's skill-based matchmaking. And I think of course it started evaluating everybody on the first day, and then it gets sweatier and sweatier. And then this came out and confirmed there was something running to evaluate everyone.
Yeah, I guess to Bluey's point again, it was like, I was surprised to even hear this discussion in the TWA, but it's almost like the feedback and then boom. There it is.
At the very least, I can appreciate that they are taking everything head on.
Oh yeah.
Since May, everything that has come up, they are just taking head on 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, if you remember Destiny 1, I mean, how much criticism did they get for not talking about anything?
Something like this, you wouldn't hear about it for a year. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much the feedback loop in years 1 and 2 of Destiny 1. So while we don't always have to be happy about what we hear, I'm just happy that there's a feedback loop, you know? Mm-hmm. And they're paying attention. Yeah. At least we don't have to guess at stuff, and they just say, look, this is how it's going. This is why, this is what we're doing. And people can just focus on the actual truth of what's going on and being like having, 6-month-long conversations about hand cannon bloom. Right. God, that was just worn out, dude. Mm-hmm. All right. So, moving on into Destiny player support. I don't know about you guys. I've definitely had some error codes this week, but that's to be expected, right?
Mm-hmm. I think I only
my
got
experience. One. What's that?
I think I only got one.
I actually think I only had one also, maybe two.
How did you guys fare getting in? Era, I know you weren't, you were at work when it officially started right away.
Yeah. I didn't log in until like 6 or 7.
Yeah. Shameless plug. I was watching your stream.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was too. I was
remember, too. It all runs together. So I took a half day off, worked that morning and came in, like had just enough time to like literally eat a bowl of cereal for lunch and get a stream ready and jumped in like 15 minutes before. So it took me, I want to say 10 or 15 minutes to get in. Which considering like I completely expected there to be some hiccups. So I was happy when I got in pretty quick. But there was a lot of that error code termite, whatever that meant. And
it's funny because I was watching Gathalion stream for a minute. I'm not sure if you were live yet, Cyborg, and he read all the descriptions of each of the classes, and I'm like, yeah, I would want to read them too, but I'm like, I'm surprised he's not just jumping in. And then after he finally selected one, it error coded him out. And everybody was like, dude, I wonder if you would have just like selected one right away if you'd have got right in.
Oh my gosh, I read them all too when I finally got in because they were kind of cool to read.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I had one weasel error this week as well, and that was about it. That's the only time I've been kicked out of anything or had any error codes, so I would say that's a pretty good sign of the stability.
I agree.
I mean, I'm sure other people are experiencing different things. There was a bug that they mentioned in here. If you were in the beta and somebody sent you a clan invitation, it would weasel you like every time. I think it was happening like when you inspected stuff, when you would join activities, and I guess it was maybe related to some part of the code that focuses on clan integration, so people just couldn't play, and they were able to figure out that you had to like join and then leave all your clans and do all this crazy stuff. So that basically they disabled in-game clan invitations to solve that problem. So that was solved pretty quick. Some weird stuff, but
it was a pretty weird
it's a beta
glitch though.
Yeah.
It was funny though. When I read the how to fix it, I was like, there's no way this is real. It was.
Oh, I did too. I saw Miss 5000 Watts and I was like, she's a credible source, I would consider. You know, if it was just a random person I didn't know on Twitter, I'd be like, I don't know about this. But I read it and then people were saying like, yeah, that worked for me. I was like, how is this a thing? And how did they figure that out? So that was strange. Moving on. Movie of the week. We've got. Oh, did you guys see the overly attached Nova bomb? Did you see this on Twitter?
No, I didn't.
Dude,
oh,
just watch this GIF real quick. Arrow, while we're talking about this is great. And this I've seen this happen a few times now. But this Nova bomb, now dubbed the Slova bomb, literally tracks this dude all over the map. It's awesome. Like,
dude,
somebody,
it's so slow.
They just need to put the old what's the comedy show that talking about, somebody needs to put that music over that. It's great.
It's like more floofy than the old Warlock. I mean, it's so slow, dude.
Yeah.
So slow.
It is pretty slow. My take on that is that skill tree with that style of Nova it's not made for the way people are using it, where typically people with Nova Bomb, like, you can cast a Nova from pretty far away and it's got some velocity, so it'll get where you want it to go. This seems like it's more of like you put it in the middle of a room full of people, and it's going to do its thing because it's so close quarters. But
that one's like a red turtle shell, man. That one there. Holy cow.
I'm interested
I know,
to see...
dude, the old Nova just felt so cool, though. Like, it was just, But you know more than anybody.
I do like that they added the explosion with the Axion Seekers to that. So that makes it more effective because you have that. Like, if you don't put it right in the middle of people, when it explodes, you've still got opportunities to take down people with those Axion Seekers. So that kind of makes it worth it to an extent, It's harder for people to get away from it.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. What else we got in the news this week?
We got our July Bungie podcast.
Yep.
We did get that.
Yep.
That was a good one this week. A lot of little nuggets of information in there.
I was talking with Blue about this. Was it last night or the night before?
I don't know. We've been playing a lot of PUBGs.
you were like super triggered by something, and I was like, dude, I totally got triggered when he said that too.
Yeah.
So Luke Smith, of course, was in the podcast this week, and did you listen to the whole thing yet, Arrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know what we're talking about here, where he brings up carry culture, and they use that term. That's their term. And how it is important. He said it was important to him, but he said the team wanted to preserve carry culture in Destiny 2. And I immediately went, what? Come again? Blue, what? Give me your thoughts on this. You summed it up the best.
Basically, my issue is it's a rhetoric issue. The term carry implies that you're going to take somebody and say, cool, log in, get into our game, and then put the controller down. And a lot of people might say that's not the case, but that's where the term Sherpa comes in. If you're trying to teach people, like, let's use the raid. I think the raid is the best example. With trials, it's a carry thing in a lot of cases. I know for me, for a long time, when my friends would take me to the lighthouse, I absolutely jumped in their backpack and it was a carry. But for raids, which I think is where this is more in reference to, you want to teach people the raids. There's that whole teach a man to fish, give a man a fish thing. And to hear them say that they want to preserve carry culture, I go, no, you need to build into your game ways to help educate your players to become better at the game and be able to help themselves, as well as the fact that it is a very social game and that people will help each other out. But preserving carry culture to me implies that people are so addicted to the loot that they don't care about the game. They just want you to take them there so they can get the fun things at the end. And the fact that they were like, they have their own internal terms for it, that they want to make it something that lasts, that they it just sort of struck a chord with me that was like, this is not what you should be going after. You should be going after educating your gamers, the fans of your game, to be able to help themselves and get better and find, I think it's great what they're doing with the clans or the guided games and things to help people find help as needed.
Right.
If you go into guided games and they pull you in and they say, cool, how many times have you done this? None. And I just need you to carry me. People are going to be like, okay, bye. Like, no, we'll help you, but but nobody's just going to just throw you in their backpack and take you through a raid. Or at least they shouldn't.
Well, I was trying to remember like the specific examples he used, but I do remember that he specifically mentioned Crafty and a couple other people. Yeah.
And this could be a semantics thing, but they know what Sherpas are, and they know that term. So if they meant like we want to preserve Sherpa culture, I would have been like, awesome. Like that's the vibe I'm getting. That's what I get when you build in things like guided games. But when they specifically use the term carry culture and they bring up streamers who have built their channels around literally carrying people to the lighthouse, carrying people through XYZ, that so rubs me the wrong way. And look, you can play the game however you want. If you want to get carried to stuff, I understand that's cool. If you don't have the time to get the skill set you need, if you're a streamer and that's what you build your channel around is doing carries, like I have no problem with it. I think it's a niche thing that is a service to people. But when you're the developer and you're like, that is a value to us, it's like what Blue is saying. Like, why are you so interested in preserving that? Are you interested in preserving it so that the people that are doing the carrying can carry that on because that's important to you? Or are you more interested in serving your player base as a whole? And I don't know. It definitely rubbed me the wrong way.
It was weird to hear Luke Smith, of all people, bring that up just because of, I mean, you know, we've heard how he plays the game, and they even mentioned on there not with work friends and stuff like that, just because I think he can get a little salty while he's playing maybe or something. That's what they've alluded to. But they did say, I mean, they specifically gave an example of like him playing with Noseworthy one time and then like not ever again because, and I'm pretty sure they were talking about PvE content. So yeah, I don't know, you know, I kind of wish we could get a little bit more of a
well, in some of the ways that
this.
They refer to carry culture, they specifically alluded to PvE content, and this came up because they were talking about I think it's the Lost Delight mission that has the Black Spindle like alternate route, and that's why this came up. And they talk about how it was so cool that people helped others get through that activity. And I totally agree with that because I helped people get through that activity.
Yeah, not to interrupt, but that was like my thing on Twitch for a while, is every time I would see that was the mission that came up, I was like begging to get out of work early so that I could get home because that was my thing.
We even mentioned it on the show every week.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we had a post about it.
But I never felt like I was carrying anybody, and I would tell people, like, you got to carry your weight. You got to do XYZ, like this is how we do it. And I need you to do this. And I need you to do this. So I never felt like I was like, all right, you go hide in the corner. We're going to knock this out for you. It was a Sherpa-ing. It wasn't a carry-ing. I don't know. I don't know if that's how you were doing it, Blue, but.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was definitely more of a Sherpa because that end room was rough.
Oh, it's nuts. I mean,
but no, it might just be a rhetoric, semantic kind of thing, but it just, to me, seemed like perpetuating the wrong idea. I think is what it came down to for me, is it just seemed like that's not what I want to see. I want to see gamers learning and getting better and being excited about it. You know, that first time you do get through that mission, you know, it took my first time getting through the Black Spindle mission took me an entire night of tries. And it was just mind-numbingly frustrating. And then when we did it. That was us. We were so excited when we got the Black Spindle, and a couple of guys. I never got the ship because, you know, why would the guy who carries people, you know, get the ship? You know, like,
I never got it either.
So I got it on PlayStation my first try, but after, you know, my 3 runs on Xbox, I never got it. So, you know, I did my best to help people through that. And it felt good helping them and everything. But at the end of the day, I don't think it should be called carries. I think you should take the time to show them. And the streamers that I think of that do the carries, and a lot of people still say carry, But these people tend to say Sherpa, and they have an extreme amount of patience. They're really good because it's oftentimes kids that need help. Really good with kids. Really good at the game and at communicating. And I think carry culture almost takes away from that. I'm probably hung up on a really small thing, but it bugged me.
Well, I feel like it wouldn't hurt. I mean, if they could have or would have elaborated a little bit more, because specifically mentioned like Crafty. I mean, he carries people to the lighthouse, on the PvP side of things. But what you just described is the Derp fam in a nutshell. I mean, that's what we've heard time in, over and over. Patience and helping kids through raids, and that's definitely the Sherpa-ing vibe,
Yeah,
not the carrying vibe.
Well, per usual, Luke Smith says something that stirs people up.
Yeah.
And he's not filtering himself, which we also appreciate because he has candor about things. So I don't want to crucify the dude for it, and it very well could be semantics, but it's worth paying attention to the game directors' philosophies on how they're making the game, Another thing that they brought up in the Bungie podcast, of course, is that the weekly reset will continue, which we were particularly excited about because the name of our podcast stays relevant.
We were wondering if it was going to become a relic for Destiny 2.
Like, what if weekly reset goes away? What do we do?
We talked about it a few times. We're like, well, it'll just mean something, for the old school days.
Yeah.
Another cool thing, dude. Noosk confirms on Twitter that they've already fixed the getting kicked out of your menus upon loading screens. How amazing is that?
Yeah.
Dude?
Very happy.
That's so huge. Cool. Dude, I remember looking at you guys at the reveal event, and I think you were sitting to my right, Cyborg, and I just looked at you and go, dude, I still got kicked out of my menu.
And I was like, yeah, I did too, I think.
Yeah. Like, dang
little
it.
things that make the difference.
Did either of you ever play this on the first gen Xbox 360 PS3?
No.
Mm-mm.
I played a lot on Xbox 360 before. I was really late to the game on Xbox One, and a lot of people have asked me, when I talk about this, well, how bad was it? Like, how rough was it playing on? It really wasn't that bad, but there was a huge thing, and anyone listening who played on those consoles will totally understand this. Going into your menu in a game, it would take roughly 30 seconds for that menu to load. It was a night. You'd be in a raid, you'd need heavy, and you would have to hide in a corner and have people cover you. It was awful. And so hearing that you're not going to get kicked out of the menus, just, it sounds silly because it's such a small thing. But to me, that first thing I thought of was that change from Xbox 360 to Xbox One and just being able to have my menu open up. Because I've even heard a couple of guys that I play with go, come on menu. And I'm like, oh, you don't even know.
Dude, sometimes I even notice, and I don't know if it's every time, but like when I get on Xbox, I feel like Xbox One, it takes just a little bit longer.
It's a little longer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, just to hear you talking about that, like I never thought about the old gen consoles. Like, holy cow!
Oh my gosh, it was a real problem, real problem. It was a thing where people would go into their menus in between wipes and stuff and. Hang on, it's not loaded yet. Hang on. I mean, it was a real thing, and it was a real problem. But this isn't even on par with that, but that's what it made me think of it. I'm just like, oh, those little quality of life changes that go so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This one's going to be huge. Really cool. Except the only thing I see now is it's amazing, except I will say that moment you do spawn into a Crucible map and it kicks you out, it's like, okay, I know that I've spawned into the map. I need to start moving soon. Now I'm just going to be like chilling in my menus, like doing a couple things. Oh, we loaded in. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. Oops. But that's okay.
Well,
I don't want to be kicked out of my menu.
The little things that make the difference.
How excited are we about this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been forever.
It's been too long.
We also saw some the promised Razer branded Destiny 2 products. Did you guys check those out?
I haven't yet, actually. I gotta do that.
That super large mouse pad.
So yeah, well, it's actually kind of a average size mouse pad compared to what the norm is now. Most mouse pads are about long. I guess 3 feet long.
I don't have room for that.
I don't either.
Dude, like, period.
So we've got a mouse pad, keyboard, and headset. I will say, with the exception of the keyboard, the branding on these objects look really nice. I like that, because I'm pretty much a sucker for anything Destiny branded. But unfortunately, I don't need headphones. Those are the prettiest looking thing on there that I would love to have if I needed headphones, but I'm pretty much covered on that front. But I may pick up the mouse.
Yeah, I'll probably get the mouse.
Because I have a mouse, but it's like literally a Chinese knockoff of a nicer mouse.
Yeah.
Like that I got just to have like a better mouse on the cheap. So I may have to pick up a couple of these things, the mouse pad,
It's funny though with PC peripherals though, like keyboards and mice, like you got to find that middle ground of like not super cheap, but not like you can find some that aren't super expensive that are amazing, like that people recommend or love, you know?
Yeah. But the mouse is the Razer Death Adder Elite Destiny 2 Edition. Multicolor, ergonomic gaming mouse with the world's most precise sensor. That's the Amazon description.
I'm sold by that description.
Yeah. It looks nice. It's got a nice tricorn on it. It's black and white. Okay, and then you've got the Razer Ornata Chroma Destiny 2 Edition keyboard, which for being Destiny branded doesn't do much for me. But it does have a cool wrist rest built into it, which is nice. And but they did mention there's not going to be any I forget what this is called, but there's some kind of feature on these that have like special functionality with the LEDs. I think that like do certain things, like say you popped your super or something, it'll like light up. And they're saying on release it's not going to have support, but they are talking about building it in.
I mean, the Overwatch keyboard has that, and I don't know what the price tag is on this keyboard. I don't know if it's available or not yet.
It's $109.99.
Yeah, the Overwatch one has all those features, and it's $190 still.
Wow.
So,
I mean, it's cool, but yeah.
Then again, this doesn't have macro buttons or anything. I wouldn't buy this keyboard for a number of reasons. I wouldn't
buy it. Yeah.
I don't think it looks bad, honestly. I like the way that it looks. I think it's got a lot of, but it doesn't have the macro keys on the left that I would want. And just, I don't know. It seems like it is I don't know how to say this, a beginner PC keyboard. Now this is a guy talking with a Dell $5 keyboard that I've been gaming on for the last 2 years. So I don't really believe that gaming keyboards matter, but if I was going to spend money on a keyboard, this one doesn't really have all the stuff on it that I'd want.
Yeah. If you're going to spend at least $100 on a keyboard, you're probably looking at models that are way more specific to what you want, and you're not going to buy this just because it's Destiny branded. I think I feel like they underestimated what people are looking for if they're going to buy that type of keyboard, and went for a lower model, like a lower valued model. And maybe, the average player that's just buying a PC to dip their toes into PC gaming and are going to play Destiny 2 on PC, they may buy this. But I feel like if they had went with a keyboard with better features, better looking branding on it, like, I would consider it, but in this case I'm not interested.
Also, real quick, before anybody rips my head off because they're like, you don't need macro keys for Destiny 2, fine. But the thing is, you're going to play other games with this probably.
No, I mean,
right. You're not going to unplug and plug it back in.
Might need macro keys. We don't know. We'll have to see.
We shall see.
All right, moving on. Big news. Beta was extended through Tuesday. Was supposed to end today on Sunday. So that's
if you're listening to this,
awesome.
it has ended.
Yeah.
On reset, that makes sense.
Actually, I think it's I think it's going to be 9 p.m. on Tuesday Eastern.
Oh, really?
I think it said. I think I read that it was. Live. I believe it's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 9 p.m. Eastern, and that's what I thought I read. Maybe I misunderstood that, but I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this,
did I see a tweet too where they said if you didn't download it by Sunday night, you couldn't download it? Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Said 5 p.m. their time. I saw that on Twitter. I think it was like a follow-up tweet on Bungie Help.
Cosmo said they're just going to start unplugging stuff and expect to get booted to orbit. They're just going to be stress testing some things and stuff. So while it may be live, don't expect the best experience, I think, is the point.
Yeah. Right.
All right, what else do we have? There was a Destiny 2 beta experience in London with Virgin Media. This? I didn't know anything about this till I saw Destiny YouTubers tweet and stuff. What was it like Monday of this week? Last week?
Like, wait, what was this? And the name was a mouthful.
Yeah. So I guess they were just playing the beta day before. I don't know.
Yeah, that you could inspect weapons, I think, for the first time is the reason it hit.
Oh, that explains. Okay, a bunch of not a bunch, but a couple of people on Twitter started posting things that they were not supposed to post, and I don't think that was made clear.
Breaking embargo. That
it seems like it was on accident. The person seems pretty genuine, and I've met them, and they're a nice person, and I'm pretty sure it was a miscommunication somewhere along the line, but. That explains where they got that stuff from. I was like looking at it going, where did you get this?
Right.
So
we had some extended coverage through Destiny 2 from IGN. Arrow, tell us about these different things they put out this week, these videos.
Oh, the sound was cool. I'm sure you checked that out, Cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Dude, it was really cool to hear. Well, I mean, we've all noticed the sound in Destiny 2. I mean, from when we went to the reveal event, this most specific thing I remember was the Hunter jump, how cool it sounded. But it was really cool to just kind of see behind the scenes of how much attention to detail they're putting in to the sound in Destiny 2. But did they clarify for me, like they specifically said there's differences in PvE versus what they worked on in PvP, right?
PvP is its own mix.
Yeah, like period, all the way down to like the level of the audio level of like footsteps and stuff, right?
They said specifically that your enemies, say for instance, gun sounds and footsteps are louder than that of your teammates, so that you can focus on what is more, necessary for you to hear.
That just reminded me. Because we heard a while back that supers were going to sound different versus on your team versus the opposing team. I did not notice that. Did you guys pay attention to that at all? It just made me think
when
of
did
that.
You get a super?
You were waiting this whole time, right? You were waiting this whole time.
He beat me to it.
Very good.
Set it up and knock him down.
I didn't notice the sound difference. I'm sure there is, but I just didn't.
Yeah, no, I have no
fully
idea.
Pay attention to it.
I'd have to. Go in like looking for the difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Well. All right, and then we saw a closer look at the Cabal combatants, which is cool. They definitely pointed out some things I didn't realize about the Cabal. Some of the new characters, like how you could blow up the flamethrower's tank. On his back,
dude, and that machete. Cabal. He is relentless.
Dude. Yeah. What are they called?
Died by him in a strike.
Gladiators. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, those dudes will wreck you, man.
Quickly.
Oh my gosh. And of course, like, it's so hard to kill red bars now, so you gotta like run around and backpedaling, shooting the guy while he's coming to cleave you.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and they also pointed out like the new Cabal phalanxes, they have that shield ability that extends a shield out, which I noticed, but if you shoot the little glowy part in the middle of the shield, it takes it down. So good tips there for the future. And then they had a video about localization, which is very important.
11.
Yep, if you don't play in English.
Yes. Yes.
That's important. I think that's the major news this week. Are we missing anything, guys?
No, we've got, I mean, not that I can remember. There's so much stuff, so much news right now. We've got a whole nother week of IGN stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Pretty much every day but TWAB.
They did a Ask Me Anything on their IGN blog post where you could submit questions, and they're going to send those to Bungie and come back with a either, I guess, an article or a video, I'm not sure, on the 28th. So I'm assuming it's probably too late to submit questions at this point, but that'll be a thing.
Well, as you're listening to this too, we probably already got our Tuesday the 25th PvP reveal, so I can't wait to hear what that is.
I'm hoping it's the new mode, the other new mode.
Yes.
I did want to bring up...
I think they did hint at that.
I was hoping... My goal was to have read these, but yesterday I went by my Barnes & Noble looking for the PC Gamer from this month that has a feature on Destiny 2.
Oh, I saw a picture.
Yeah, a couple people posted that on Twitter, so I went and grabbed one, and then I look up and I see the PlayStation Official Magazine UK edition also had a cover on Destiny 2, which this magazine is $15.
Wow.
Oh,
in
man.
the US. But I grabbed it anyways with the full intention to read both of these, but they're both like 10-page spreads and I haven't read them. So I'm going to dig deep through them, see if there's any nuggets, because these are obviously mostly marketing. But I'll let you guys know if I find anything interesting next week.
Text us immediately.
I shall.
We talk about it next week.
I shall. You might want the PlayStation UK one because it's got a Titan on the front. Arrow.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just saying. I might be making a trip at lunch tomorrow.
Also, it came with a PlayStation Complete Guide to Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So,
nice.
If anybody wants that,
I mean,
message
I got the
me.
game.
Yeah, I'm not going to play this game, so message me and I'll put it in the mail to you because I don't need it. It's like a little like text booklet, and it's got like a tip for every single level in the game, it looks like.
I can go on a whole nother rant about that game, but we'll save that for another podcast.
Okay.
A totally different podcast that isn't this one.
Fair enough. So I'm not going to send it to you, is what you're saying.
No, I like the game. It's just, it's very old school and it's very difficult. People probably forget.
They're not used to that level of platformer anymore.
The old Tomb Raider difficulty.
Yeah. Well, why don't we talk about our sponsor this week, Arrow?
Let's do it.
All right. It's time to offer you guys something special for the listeners of DRP. Our sponsor for this week is Audible, and they're offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out the Audible service. We've talked about this a few times on the show before, but Arrow and I both have used Audible for some time, so we know the product, we know the service, we like it, we utilize it regularly. I personally couldn't recommend it enough. It has helped me read about 30 books this year in my drive time, basically. But what are you reading this week, Arrow? What would you suggest?
Dude, I gotta say,
somebody wanted to use this?
I've used Audible off and on for a little while, but I decided this week, after chatting about it back and forth a couple episodes ago, I'm like, all right, I've got plenty of podcasts to listen to. I'm gonna check out these books that I've had for a while and see which one I want to read.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, you forget, even listening to podcasts, you don't really know because you finish a podcast, but with a book, it's like you finish a chapter, a few chapters. By the time you get home, like you don't realize, even in my short commute, how many books or how quickly you could read a book.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty crazy. So anyways, I kind of looked at my backlog library I had on Audible, and I actually had a book called The Secrets to Growing a Successful YouTube Channel. And I was like, you know what? I've had this for a while. That kind of stuff I love fictional books, but I always I've read a book on how to sell stuff on eBay and stuff random like that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting to me to just see what if I can get little nuggets out of those books. And anyways, so I listened to this book, and while it wasn't groundbreaking secrets, it really did make me focus on particular points of different things when you're a content creator, you know, that you may just very quickly overlook. So I do recommend it. I mean, it was a pretty good read. So
awesome.
Anyways,
dude.
what about you this week, man?
So I am in the middle of a book called Leaders Eat Last by author Simon Sinek. He also wrote a book called that's came before this one called Start With Why. And he's great author, has a lot of authority on leadership. And the idea around this book is so the title Leaders Eat Last comes from the Marine Corps, where basically the grunts eat first and the top officers eat last. And it's basically a principle about how you take care of your people before you take care of yourself when you're a leader. And the principle he's trying to explain, and this is what I've gotten so far through the book, is about creating safe environments for the people that you're leading where they don't feel internal threats and internal pressure, and can and because of that, can focus on the overall goals that you're trying to accomplish as a team, because they're not focused on internal threats, which, sounds pretty smart. But if you look at any office environment or any team that you've ever been a part of, many people have probably been a part of a team where there's like infighting and office drama and, all that crap. And so he's kind of explaining, as a leader, how do you get out of that cycle? And I found it really, really interesting.
That sounds really interesting, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blue, have you ever used Audible?
I have, actually. My current job has me, working at a desk all day, so I have the ability to. In my old job, I was working in a warehouse where we were allowed to use headphones, and I got into Audible because I got sick of listening to the same music all the time. Yeah. And if you want to watch the show but you want to read the books first, Game of Thrones, the audiobooks are incredible. I think it's except season 4, I believe. Every other season is read by this man Roy Dotrice, and he voice acts the whole thing. It is incredible. It's an experience.
There's a lot of characters in Game of Thrones.
And he keeps them all straight. He has voices for all of them. He really acts out the characters. Wow. So these guys talking about these interesting books about concepts and stuff. This, if you're looking for some nonfiction fun,
there you go.
Game of Thrones. Yeah. Don't fall behind anymore. I definitely, when I picked it up and got my free month, the first thing I got was the first book of Game of Thrones, and I crushed it. I couldn't stop listening to it.
I may have to do that.
You forget how to enjoy something without a screen. It sounds kind of weird because I couldn't just sit and I couldn't listen to it just at work or just in the car. I needed to keep going because it was so good, and I'd just sit in a chair and just listen. And I'm like, this is kind of weird, but it's great.
Dude, so far our Audible segments have prompted us to have, because I actually have only watched one episode of Game of Thrones. I really want to get into it, but this actually may be a way for me to jump in.
I'm missing
I want to answer
right now
two
for you
quick
guys.
questions.
I think Cyborg is too.
Yep. I want to answer two quick questions that people have asked us about this offer. Number one, if you use this, you get to keep the book that you redeem forever, even if you don't stay with the service long term. So let's say you sign up, maybe you go on for 2 months and then you cancel it. You still keep those books in your library and you'll always have access to them. Number two, being that if you sign up for the trial and you don't want to use the service, say you just use that 30-day period, same thing, you keep the book. So it's a win-win. You're getting a free book basically out of just giving this a shot. So if you want to do that, go to audibletrial.com/Destiny Reset, and you can sign up for a free trial today, get that book, and be ears deep in a new adventure within minutes.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
There you go.
All right. That's Audible for this week. Thank you, Audible, for sponsoring the show.
Yes. Thank you. Hey, Blue. How was your reset, buddy?
Oh, man. You starting with me?
Yes, always. Even though we said you're not really a guest anymore.
First, this is actually before the last time I was on, but I just want to put it out there once more. big shout out to Lulu Soccer. Thank you. She helped me get Flawless Raider on Xbox. She helped me get it on PlayStation months and months ago. But
congrats, dude.
I have one achievement left. I got to go ring those darn bells in.
I need to do that too, dude. What console?
So we might have to Xbox.
All right, let's do it together.
Yeah, we'll ring them.
Dude,
bells.
I actually haven't done that either because I got my platinum before that. So there's trophies that I don't have on PlayStation.
Oh, weird.
But yeah, that's one I haven't done.
If you want to do it on Xbox, you can come do it with us there.
There you go. Yeah,
absolutely.
That'll be like my 5th achievement.
All right, we'll do that this week.
Besides that, I mean, obviously the beta came out, and so I dove into that. I think that was really, I mean, if you guys know me, if you've gotten used to me, I play a lot of games, and I'm 150 hours into PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds now. I cannot stop playing. I'm completely obsessed. But when it comes to Destiny, obviously the beta came out, and so I played a bunch of that. And as earlier in the podcast would imply, I was less than impressed. We can dive.
You jumped into the beta day one, right?
Yes.
But you didn't. You streamed it a few days in. Right?
Yes. The first time I streamed it was
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. And I played it Tuesday and Wednesday. I actually recorded my first playthrough and put it on YouTube of the story mission as a Titan, and I actually really enjoyed it. But you can, even if you watch it, you can hear me as I go through going, man, I really wish I had a super. Like, I really wish this grenade would kill something. I really wish that I had more ammo. And so I have some pretty fundamental flaws that I found in it that everyone's telling me they're going to change. But then I hear that this is an old beta, and I don't know what to feel anymore. It's kind of, I'm at a loss.
So is it more so, I mean, specifically like cooldowns and how much ammo you have? Not necessarily. I mean, how did you like the extended story mission we played?
The story mission was fun.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot more. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we didn't get the full version at the DRE. So I wanted to point out, like, it was a much more fun and complete mission now that I enjoyed it more.
Yes.
Not being just dropped into the tower. Yeah. It was cool to work your way there. Yeah.
Agreed. But I think I kind of started noticing the cooldowns were my big thing. And I started noticing them a little bit as I played it, but it was in PvP that I really noticed how much it bothered me. And then it really bothered me that I was not getting supers. In Countdown, I think I've gotten, of all the Countdown matches I played, I think I got 3 supers. And then in Control, what was happening is everyone was getting their super at the exact same time at the end of the map, and so it was just a battle of supers towards the end of the match. And I was just like, this isn't working for me. And if you don't hit a grenade on someone's face with fire on top of that, firing at them at the same time, grenades don't really do anything anymore either. And I get that they want this gun skill game, but those games exist. I like that in Destiny I can hit a couple of buttons and boom, I have a flaming hammer that I'm throwing at people. And if I want a gun skill game, what I've been telling people is I play Titanfall 2. That game has it all. It's fast-paced, awesome weapons, feels great, tons of movement, verticality, everything. Destiny's, to me, is about blowing things up with space magic. And so that was bothering me. And then I read and was starting to hear other feedback on it that people didn't like the PvE aspect of it, but enjoyed the PvP because of how much it had nerfed the PvE experience by trying to balance out PvP. And then it dawned on me that the strike, which doesn't blow me away, it's cool, but it didn't make me go, wow, look at this, they really changed everything up. The reason for that was because you're primarying down a bullet sponge at the end. And it's like,
I thought that about the boss too. I mean, it's cool how you have like 3 different moments you're fighting him, but you're really just like changing elevation.
You're changing arenas.
And you can't go outside the little circular area there. But yeah, I definitely can see what you're saying on that.
Let me ask both you guys. So, a couple questions. What characters did you create first? Hunter, Titan, Warlock, Titan. What about you, Aaron?
Titan. Yeah, Titan.
Okay. So I want to provide, I guess this will make it a little easier to discuss these different things because there's a ton of different thoughts that we all have to kind of collect together. So what I want to know is like, what are your 3 favorite things from the beta? Like, what did you love the most? What stood out and you're like, oh, I like that. And then what 3 things would you want to change? So I'll start, and then I want to hear what you guys think on top of Aero. I want to hear your like initial thoughts too. So I started with a Titan on PS4 on the first day because I had played the Warlock a bunch and I really wanted to try out Sentinel Titan. A little bit let down with that subclass. It looked really cool, but in action, not as fun as I thought. I still haven't even figured out how to use the shield to block stuff. Please tell me, because I haven't had enough supers to figure it out.
Dude, I ended up running Striker most of the time I played.
I played Striker last night on PvP for a couple hours and had a ton of fun on Striker.
Yeah. Running around as a lightning flash.
Dude,
like I was
fun.
immediate on that Sentinel. Like I think maybe it just is going to take a little more practice with the Sentinel, but my initial thoughts were like, I don't feel like among everything else we'll talk about, like I don't feel super powerful. I got that Striker out and I was like, yes.
And lightning grenades are still very effective in the right space.
I'm just going to say now, I didn't think any of the new supers blew me away. Period.
Really?
Like
new as in Arc Strider.
Yeah, the 3 brand new ones, the new ones.
3 brand new.
I enjoy what the Sentinel offers because there's a lot of tactility to it. You can throw down the bubble if you want instead of using that super, or you can be aggressive and pop that super. And in PvE, throwing that shield around, it now has a little bit of a mob clearing thing to it. And I like that a lot. But again, I stand by it. My opinion didn't change even playing it during this beta. The what the heck is it called for the Warlock? The
Dawnblade.
The Dawnblade is just a slower, floofier Sunbreaker. I don't get it. I don't understand how. Like the reason nobody used whatever it was, Angel of Light, where you float in the air, because you're just a sitting target, and they've built this super around floating through the air, and it's just like.
But you can't
really
evade.
Get this.
What about the evade though? That evade though.
I didn't. Dude. Garrisoning Warlock in PvP is nice.
Yeah, when you get a super.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
you can evade. I just mean
super, period.
Though.
Yeah.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
It's just nice to be able to do that.
Anytime you're in the air with that setup, you can evade.
Well, that's good. They kind of took note of the fact that their jump is terrible. Anyway, but no, and then the Arc Strider at first I thought was like the most OP thing to ever hit PvP because it's the only super that killed me twice. Like a single super pop killed me, I respawned, killed me again. And I was like, uh-oh, this is no good. And then I used it myself and was like, oh, that was a fluke. The movement in this thing is terrible. It's not Blade Dancer. Blade Dancer had this really fluid movement. You could move really quickly across the map. And Arc Strider, man, I watched people try to go as fast as they could with that thing, and it is not as fast as I thought it was going to be.
It's definitely not for true, like, roaming super. Like, you don't want to be running around with that thing. You want to be in a room or something, you know?
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I found myself playing Gunslinger and Striker and not playing Warlocks. They didn't fix the jump. I don't care. It's not good. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I like Warlocks. I don't. So, but I don't know. I didn't get to play with them.
I did see a lot of the PvP guys landing on Warlock just because they have that evade now. It's like you instantly that evade is just huge in PvP. I didn't actually play any PvP with the Warlock, but I did load into the story mission and play through it on Xbox as a Warlock, and just using it in PvE was fun. It was nice, considering I didn't have my Garrison on my Titan on PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah, I was playing nice. Titan a few games. At first, catching myself trying to Garrison evade. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, no, can't do that.
I use it so much right now in Destiny 1. Yeah.
So I think my overall impression is I had a lot of fun in Countdown. I think Countdown is in my top 3 favorite things out of the beta, because even in a team with kind of a mix of skill, from high to low and in between, everybody got a chance to play their part. And even the players that might typically struggle with certain objective modes, like, were able to provide value. And when we played as a team, we won a lot of games. And we're able to use, the new abilities to a lot of effect and really be, smart in the way that we were playing. And it wasn't just about killing everybody. You could still win with the team being up and not all wiped out. So right. Countdown, I think, is a definite win for Destiny 2. I think that's going to be a ton of fun. I want to play it. I want to play it on some of the other maps. I think the map that we were provided is awesome. I love that map. It's fun. It's got different lanes. It's got flank routes. It's got everything I want out of a map that puts you in that mode. It's a ton of fun. Besides that, I guess I wish there was a little more PvE to play. Like, I don't know. I know they don't want to give out too much. But that content is not as recyclable, just a story mission and a strike. And I played the story mission, I think 5 times now, and the strike like 3 times. I don't have as much a problem with the strike. It's a Destiny strike, it is what really it is. I'm wondering if the problem is more so not the strike itself, but the fact that we're mainly using primaries now. And in PvE, is that going to get tiresome? To just be using primaries the majority of the time. And I think maybe with them alleviating some of the power ammo problems, maybe we'll have those weapons in our hands more often than not. But the fun thing with Destiny 1 is that you had these 3 weapons that you could cycle through that allowed you to play kind of 3 different ways to approach a tactical situation. And it kind of made things fun to switch between those weapons, to go from your pulse to your sniper and then whip out a rocket when the ads come out. And you're always kind of playing that shuffling around with the weapons to use what's most appropriate for the situation. And you can still kind of do that with primaries, but it's so underwhelming because to kill a red bar, I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5 bursts from a pulse, or 3 bursts from a scout, or, it's just takes that much longer to kill everything. And I can't pin my finger on whether that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, I couldn't we have the business time primary exotic you get from running through the story mission, which is instantly, I mean, it's like a Gatling gun in your primary. Yeah. I mean, it still didn't feel like it was doing a ton of damage.
Sweet Business, or what is it, man?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, Sweet Business, something like that, because business time. That's right. Yeah. So then that makes me immediately wonder, they're not going to give us snipers in our secondary because that would defeat the purpose of the new system, the freedom slots. But it makes me wonder how they're going to mix it up a bit, because I see what you're saying. I mean, because I instantly, I'm running definitely in one or the other, a pulse or a scout. I mean, you want to have some sort of range because we're used to running mostly sniper rifles. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it is interesting to see what they're going to do with raids and things of that nature. Yeah. I mean, it changes the dynamic.
Yeah, it changes how they have to design the entire raid. I think.
Yeah.
But
you'd think. Yeah.
So my 3 favorite things, I would say, is one, the upgrade to the graphics and sound, I think, is a win for me. I've heard people complaining and saying this is Destiny 1.5 and whatever. But I think they're, for whatever reason, are underwhelmed, and I don't know what people expect, it to have a completely different art style, or I don't know. But in my opinion, the graphics, like the textures are richer. The lighting system is obviously improved and much more dynamic.
The rain, dude. That's cool.
Everything looks better. The sound sounds, it has bass that was never there in Destiny 1. That was the best comment I saw somebody put on Reddit. It's like they discovered subwoofers. Like everything has rumbling to it now that makes it feel just visceral. And I love that. Two, I would say the changes to like the reworking of the new or of the existing subclasses make them that much more fun. Like I love what they did to Striker and to Voidwalker.
Striker's so
my
fun, dude.
Yeah, my toss up is my 3 favorite things I've played so far is Voidwalker, Striker, and Arcstrider, which I know not many people like Arcstrider, but I thought it was fun. And then number 3 is probably the new ships.
Right.
That are friggin' awesome.
They're cool. Yeah. Yeah, just setting in orbit's cool. That new angle, that new view in the new ships. Yeah. Very cool. Okay, so we're going to do 3 favorites and then work back around. I got to say, like, just getting the extended story mission, I mean, between the story mission and the strike, I actually didn't fully complete the strike. It's the last thing I tried to do, and I didn't get all the way through it.
Why am I not surprised? Come on, dude.
I did run the story mission a couple times, and I mean, I'm pleased with that aspect of it. Like, I get, like, Blue and I were talking earlier about the boss fight and the strike. You know, there's certain things, like, one, to come into it, like you were talking about, Cyborg, it's Destiny. Like, you look, it's first person, it's a close view angle, like it's going to look and feel like Destiny. Hopefully it looks better, like you said. Hopefully it sounds better. Hopefully there's tweaks that they've learned on, you know, from the first iteration of the game. But like when I played the story mission, I played it again on, like I said, on Xbox, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, this is fun. I love seeing these characters we know. I mean, this is like the 5th or 6th time I've seen them in this mission now. Like, this is just cool. So that whole part I'm pleased with. The 4v4, I think I thought I would be, and I think I'm gonna be totally fine with that. I do like the 4v4. I will say the control map, it took a minute to get used to that control map. It seemed even kind of small for 4v4, and it wasn't even that small of a map. It just felt like it. I think it was the high traffic zones and stuff on there. But then I gotta agree, Countdown, dude. Countdown is a blast. Countdown, maybe it's just Countdown in that map, but I completely agree. Midtown is fantastic. We instantly, the call outs now that we know are on the radar, we instantly knew what to call the 2 plant zones or the 2 defend zones. We knew to check quickly. We split up, checked the lanes real quick. We knew there were flanks if we didn't see them one way. I mean, it was just, it's such a great map, and we had a blast with Countdown. But I've got some other thoughts, but Blue, 3 favorite things.
3, first and foremost, the Nightshade.
Man.
Dude. It's the only gun to use. I'm just
Black Scorpion too, though, dude. I didn't mention that. Is it the Black Scorpion? That scout rifle's pretty nice.
It is good.
I don't think I ever shot it.
Yeah, it's good.
One of my complaints actually was that the Titan and the Warlock both get the Nightshade and the Hunter doesn't. So I made my first character. I made the Titan on PS4 and played on PS4 on Tuesday, and then on Thursday when I jumped on the Xbox, I made a Hunter first to try Arcstrider out, and when I got into PvP, I was like, I hate all of these weapons, and it just it ruined the experience for me, like, without a doubt. It made me enjoy it less because it was the weapons were not things that I enjoyed. They didn't feel strong enough, and that was a bummer. But the Nightshade, crazy weapon,
dude. I don't normally use scout rifles, but I primarily used that Black Scorpion. So if you get a chance, try it out before the beta ends, because you'll like it.
I think the other one, there's another scout. Is it does not compute? Is that one?
I think that's right.
I used that one a good bit on Midtown to good effect.
But the Nightshade is just an awesome weapon.
Yep.
People are loving that.
And I don't know. I'm really old school in the way that I play these games. I don't do the read everything, find out what's the best, and then min-max and all that crap. I just play the game. And that pulse rifle, when I switched to the Hunter, I was like, man, I can't get into any of these guns. I had a really cool pulse on the Titan, and I wish I could get that again on the Hunter. And then I found out later it was the gun to have. So, I actually enjoy Sentinel. And I'm going to enjoy it in PvE a lot. Because one of the biggest downsides to playing as a Defender Titan all this time was you didn't get to have any fun. You got to be the guy that saved everyone. You got to be the guy that, put out that damage output boost and everything. Like, it was cool. You were probably the most effective at aiding the group. But when there's so many more opportunities to use supers in Destiny 1 when you were playing as a defender that you didn't get to really do because you were holding onto your bubble for when you needed it. Now you can, instead of using the bubble, pop out the shield. Well, I can imagine you got a bunch of thrall running at you or something. You throw that shield just like a pinball machine, just knocking them all down, and then you just smashing into the bigger ones. Ugh, it's so fun when you hit it right. When you hit it wrong, it's totally wasted, and I get it. Like I hit it wrong a couple times in PvP where I was just like, well, that was the worst super I've ever had. Oh wait, no, this is the worst super I've ever had. But I really enjoy the Sentinel, and I think I'm going to enjoy it going forward. I would
enjoy that super more if there was a ability where you put your shield out and then there's like a strafe or push forward that basically you like slam through a wave of things. Does that make sense? So imagine a bunch of enemies stacked up in front of you. Instead of you having to run up and whack them with the shield, you could just strafe forward and bulldoze through them all. Yeah, like a big smash. I think that would make that more fun for me.
I can see that. Yeah, I can understand that.
I'll probably mention this later when I'm talking about how the weapons feel, but I realized I turned the vibration off on my controller in Destiny 1, and at some point I turned it back on, and I mentioned this to Cyborg before the show, but when I threw the shield, it didn't feel like I threw a shield. And now I gotta go back, it's like, whoa, wait, I threw it? Like, I think it was the animation and just it had no weight to it. So now I've got to go back and do it again with vibration on my controller and see if it feels better. Did you notice that at all, Blue?
Are you talking about the bubble for the super or the shield ability?
Throwing the shield. Throwing the Sentinel shield.
Like Captain America move or the Wonder Woman move.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Did it have like a weight to it, if you know what I mean? Like, did you notice it not feeling like you threw a shield?
It didn't bother me. I gotta go back. It didn't bother me.
You know what I think is it needs like a good sound effect that you because what sounds cool once you throw it. You throw it, you still hold on to a shield. So if you threw it, if you can't visually see it just going down right away, you're like, wait, did I throw it? Where's it at? What happened?
That's exactly what I felt like.
It needs like a slink, like a really big loud sound to tell you what's happening. It
sounds cool once you throw it because you can hear it and like just whipping around. But yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, sorry, Blue, your third thing.
I'm probably gonna just have to jump on the bandwagon and say I really, really like Countdown. Countdown's a lot of fun. I don't need more round-based systems, and I really missed Clash. But Countdown had its own thing, and I got into it. I will say it felt like there was more landslide wins or losses than there were not. So hopefully, I kind of hope there's a non-competitive version of that when the game comes out. You know what I mean? Just playing casually. But it's a ton of fun. To me, it felt like there was more games that ended 6-2 than games that ended 6-5. So, and I would like to see games that kind of were a little bit more nail biter at the end. So, but no, there were things that I really did enjoy about it. I can't wait for your conversation about how the weapons felt, though. I look forward to hearing your opinions on those.
Yeah. It's a good thing we all three mentioned the new mode. Sometimes new modes can be scary.
Yep.
But this one hopefully will work out. All right, who's leading the
All right, so 3 things that we would change if we could help it. I would probably start with, it's tough to pin down exact 3 things that I want.
Yeah, I'll have some general things.
Well, let me hear what you got.
Well, I mean, okay, Blue, let's just do this conversation, Blue. We had this a little bit in your stream, Cyborg.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cooldowns on supers. All right, so we know that, and Blue, I mean, you reiterated this to me, the biggest population in this game is PvE, not PvP. Even though, I mean, there is a big population of people that play PvP, but
I mean, there's a ton of people who play the game in general, for sure.
In general, yeah, but we see the numbers come out every week, and I mean, it's still to this day, right? I mean, the weight is on the PvE side of things.
It's almost double.
The population is.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah. So I will say, in our conversation in Cyborg Stream got me thinking a lot more about it. I have said, and this is about cooldowns and supers. In Destiny 1, there was a grenade and a super. It felt like a very powerful grenade and a super every other round. And I played a lot of trials, so it was a couple rounds in. I totally get your argument. This is a space magic game. Like, this is how I want to play the game. And that is exactly how I want to play the game in PvE. So in PvP, I still will agree with you. Super cooldown is really, the supercharge time is really, really long. Like, so long that even playing Countdown, like, we'll be 4 or 5 rounds in and we spawn and I'm like, okay, let's see who has a super on their team, which I love that aspect, by the way. I love those little tweaks they make in PvP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait, no one has their super still? No way, this guy has like 10 kills. How does he not have a super? I love where grenade cooldowns are at. I think they're fantastic. Like, I'm not getting spammed, even with double lightning grenades. I'm not getting spammed with grenades 24/7. I will agree with you. I think supers could be increased. I didn't even think about this until I don't know if I saw a tweet or saw it in a video. You guys had mentioned it already, but even both modes at the end of the round or the game, controller countdown, it becomes a super fest at the end. It's awesome. Like, you got to wait a little bit for them and build it up, but then it's just like everybody has their super, so it's like what's going to happen in the last couple rounds of the game. So I agree they could be the cooldown could be, or the charge time could be a little quicker for supers. I jumped back in a strike because I talked to Cyborg a little bit after you and I talked about, because I hadn't ran the strike yet. I want to see what this feels like in PvE. So I gotta say, when I was running the strike, I still felt like getting all of those ads. I still felt like my super, I felt like it charged quicker than I felt like it did in PvP. But it made me, after our discussion, it made me realize if they're so set on balancing the game across the board when we're talking about weapons and this or that, PvE, PvP, would it be too crazy to just tweak super charge times and grenade cooldowns separately? Because I completely get it, man. Like, in PvE, I just want to destroy everything. I want to kill all the aliens with all my supers and all my abilities. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be overpowered, but I want to feel like a superhero. Yeah. But in PvP, and I play a lot of PvP, I don't want that. I want to shoot at things with my gun and then at a clutch moment use my super. And you totally can get that, I think, the two separate things. So our conversation is what I love, because I come out of it like thinking about an angle that maybe I wouldn't have thought of before, and I get it completely. Like, I completely understand the PvE side of it. That's how I want to play the game. So do you think, I guess, expanding on, we could do maybe one a piece, because I think we might agree on several things. What do you think, Blue? Like, is it lean towards a PvE thing for you? Like, this is how you want to play the game. This is where you spend most of your time, and I'm having to wait for my super this long and feel like a superhero. Or do you even not like it? I mean, do you think you liked PvP the way it was in Destiny 1? You want your super every other round. Like you said, I think you said, if you want a gun skill game, go play CSGO, maybe. Is that
I mean,
is that what you're saying?
That's definitely my big sentiment, and the big message that I'm trying to kind of send out is if what you're looking for is you want a game that is focused entirely on gun skill, there are plenty of games for that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't play Destiny or I hate you and you're a bad person. What I'm saying is there's plenty of other games out there, and I'm pretty sure it's been one of my mantras being on this show as much as I have, which is play other games. Not that Destiny isn't great. It's just there's a lot of really good games out there. And trying to make Destiny every single game ever to make every single player on the planet happy is not conducive to the experience that I think Bungie is trying to give people. And to me, is it a PvP or a PvE issue? I play everything. I not even very much so one way or the other. I play everything. It just depends on how I feel that day. So for me,
I mean, sorry, I was going to say, just to throw into your thought, I mean, do you think, so then Destiny, I mean, it kind of sounds like you think they kind of have like an identity crisis with their game. I mean, their PvP population, what do you guys think it is compared to other games? Like, do you think it's on launch, a month or two after the launch of content? I mean, would we say it's pretty substantial, even though it's less than the PvE side? Like, compared to another game's
compared
PvP
to other
population.
games, Destiny is the only game that has a majority PvE population months after release. Because in other games that have PvP modes, let's think about it. Call of Duty, Battlefront, Battlefield, Overwatch, Titanfall, etc. None of them are a persistent online social game. It's a 10-hour long campaign, and then the rest of the year you play PvP. So it stands in its own class. And I think building on what Blue is saying here, and I think you put it the best, Arrow, they're in an identity crisis because they want Destiny PvP to be world class, and I do too, because I play that and I get a lot of value out of those modes. It's given me a lot of fun over the years. I've got better at it. I've become more engrossed and more interested in PvP in a way I was never interested in PvP in any other game. But they are struggling with the core of what makes Destiny interesting and fun, which has been that ability to make you feel really powerful and still have it be challenging. And what we're struggling with is they've toned that down to a degree to make PvP, I guess you could say, more mainstream. And in essence, waters down the most substantial part of the game, which is the PvE that drives it, which ultimately brought me to the game in the first place and brought millions of other players to the game. People don't come to this game for PvP. There might be a few.
I mean, but
that's not why people pick up Destiny.
Yeah.
And it's really a big pill to swallow, I think, to see these changes. And it's very obvious that it's to make PvP more balanced. The balance issues have always been on the PvP side. Sure, when they first launched the game, there was PvE balance issues, but those were solved pretty quick. Most of it had to do with design challenges when they make activities, not like sandbox issues. And I don't know, man.
And I didn't mean to, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you short on your thought earlier, Blue. I was going to jump in and say that, but I don't know. I agree with you guys. After Blue and I's conversation, it made me think, like, what to give us the superhero feel in PvE. Like, if they don't want to balance the guns, because that would be weird, like to go into PvE with a hand cannon and the same hand cannon, it's different in PvP. Like, if they balanced, it made me think, like, maybe if they balance charge times and cooldown times, we just want to destroy things when we're in PvE. And Blue, I did hear you say, though, Like in PvP, you want to kind of be able to do the same thing. So really that wouldn't solve it for you unless, you know, they had a mayhem mode that felt like Destiny 1, not like mayhem does in Destiny 1.
But that's, I mean, that's like saying to somebody who enjoys drinking, like myself, like, don't drink all year and then go on a booze cruise. No, it's, I want to be, I don't want to mayhem. I want to be able to play the game the way that, you know, the way that it is. And right now, the way that it's going is, you know, how do I put this? I hate that right now everyone gets their supers towards the end of the game, and it's this all-out brawl to see who can get the most kills with their super. One of the only supers that I've gotten in this entire beta, and I mean that, I think I've gotten maybe 5 or 6 in PvP this entire beta. I remember one very clearly. I got my Arc Strider. It was that Thursday. I was like, oh, here we go. I pop it. A guy jumping over the top of me pops his, comes right behind me and kills me. I never even got to use it. And I'm just like, I get it. That stuff happens, and he bested me. I'm not mad about any of that. What I'm mad about is that I never get to play with this darn thing, and I only get it, if I'm lucky, once a match, an entire game. Once an entire game. Like, and everyone has theirs at the same time, so I don't get to go in and be like, surprise, because they're going to be like, really? Titan Smash. You know, like, they're just going to take care of it with something else, or maybe I'll be lucky enough to take care of it with something else, but it just doesn't feel the same.
See, and that's an aspect, you know, we were talking about on the last episode. We were like, man, maybe, you know, we noticed the cooldown time or the charge time longer on supers. And it's like, that maybe that'll make the moments of supers feel even that much more clutch and that much more cool. But it actually, I never thought about the fact you're going to wait that whole time and then everybody gets it at the same time. And another thought that comes to mind is they mentioned how, you know, they got rid of self-res because they don't want people setting on their supers. They want them to use them as soon as they get them so they feel powerful and it's something they want to do. But is that, now that we really think about it, is it a bad thing that you might set on your super a little bit in PvP?
Well, you want to use it at the best moment.
Yeah, I never thought about it like staggering.
But I've had games in where I had my super and I didn't use it because I didn't run across that moment, but I only had like maybe 1 to 2 minutes to decide. And before it was over, I was like, I had my super. And I was sincerely disappointed because I wanted opportunities to try it out. And you just don't get enough. And on top of that, I guess control is 4 minutes shorter in Destiny 2. It's 8 minutes compared to 12. So it's even more exaggerated by the fact that you're in the game for a lesser amount of time.
Well, when I wanted to ask you guys earlier too is, we ended up answering it on the PvE side. We know the PvP population is less, but compared to another game, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to put a value on is how substantial is PvP to the Destiny community. Because you have a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of people, not as much as we said, but there's a lot of people that love the PvP in this game. And like me, that play PvP a lot. Like right now, I'm just chomping at the bit. I can't wait to jump in some PvE content for several weeks. Like I cannot wait. But I know that after I do that, and after we get through Destiny 2 and the story and this or that, I'm going to flow back over to PvP and I'm going to play it and I'm going to hope it's a balanced arena. Like I want them to put time and care into it. So it's like we're back at that identity crisis.
We don't want to undervalue it because it is. I mean, we've talked a lot. We're going to have a 2-hour episode. We've talked about it a lot. Obviously, PvP is an important part of the game to very many people. So we can't be like, PvE is much greater and it shouldn't matter, you know?
But you've already said that you wish there was more PvE in this beta because the replay value isn't there. So we're going to talk about PvP more because it's what we have more of right now.
Yep.
I think what's really important to point out here.
Do we though, Blue? We have 2 game modes and 2 maps. PvP just naturally is more replayable.
I disagree. And in a utilitarian version of thinking about this, we're talking, and you can look at the graphs, twice as many people play PvE almost all the time. So I'm not trying to discount the people who play PvP because obviously they matter. But that is not why we buy Destiny. Nobody bought Destiny 1 on launch day going, man, I can't wait for another PvP experience.
And I was the same. Like I didn't really jump into PvP until Trials. But we've mentioned on this show several times in content droughts how many people have
Twitch people
naturally gravitated over to PvP. No, even people in the Dirt fam, dude.
But look at the numbers. You got to look at. We're in a very small group. We're in a very small bubble.
I'm not challenging you. I agree. We play this game for PvE, but I am a player who spends a lot of time in PvP, and I think the PvP in this game is excellent. So I don't want them to not put time and care into that aspect. I don't want to undervalue the PvP side of this game. Like, you're completely right, dude. I mean, I bought this game for PvE. I was a raiding machine. I've mentioned it several times until Trials came out. So, like, I cannot, like I just said, I can't wait. When I play that story mission, I play a strike, like, I can't wait to have a whole new story, reset, raid, stuff, story content to grind through. But I know that I'll kind of go back over to the PvP side, while we're waiting on more content. So I don't want to undervalue the PvP side, but at the same time, like, I'm trying to figure out
at the end of the day,
what is the solution? What's the solution?
One have to be at the expense of the other? That's the problem.
Right, exactly.
They both have a ton of value.
Split.
Yeah.
Bungie won't split
the balancing.
If Bungie would split it, like every other MMO that does this, everyone else does this. They are they're a very strange company for choosing to make sure everyone they feel the same all the time. Their guns are the same, their armor is the same, everything. And I appreciate the notion, but what's happened here is the PvE side has taken a serious hit. And from I think the reason I'm so worked up over this beta, which it is, I'm worked up over the beta, not over you guys. Everyone knows I love these guys. They're my favorite.
Yes. We need another hub.
I know.
We need another live show.
Is that the Destiny 2 PvP to me feels weak because I want to throw more supers and I want to get kills with my grenades. You're right. The cooldown on grenades is great, but they're borderline useless in my opinion. I've seen one grenade kill and it wasn't mine, but I'm looking at this PvP going, yeah, gun skill, it's great. And I played Titanfall 2 today for a while. I did. I fired it up because I was like, man, let me see if I'm right. Now, you got grenade cooldowns, you got ability cooldowns, you get a Titan after a while, which is basically a super, but you only get it a couple times a game, and you can take them down pretty easily and stuff. Like, I'm like, this is the Destiny 2 that I feel like a lot of people wanted, but they won't switch over because Destiny is such an addictive title. But then with all the effects that they've put into making PvP this better experience, it really hurt the PvE experience. And I put on video on Twitter the other day. I threw a sticky grenade at a red bar enemy and it didn't kill him. Come on!
Yeah, that was
like,
I actually tested that same grenade in the story mission to see what was happening. And I was throwing them at the same enemies with full health bars. And I can't figure out what was going on because twice I stuck Cabal Legionaries and it killed them. And then one time I stuck a Cabal Legionary full red bar health and it did not kill him. And I can't figure out the discrepancies. I was like, why is this grenade so underpowered? It was the magnetic grenade, right? Mm-hmm. The Sentinel's magnetic grenade, which has like 2 explosions that happens, right? It's like boom, boom, it's stuck to him.
Yeah.
Can't figure out why it's so underwhelming. And maybe it's just that particular grenade, I don't know. But yeah, for grenade, especially in PvE, like if you put an explosive right up an enemy's butt, especially a red bar, it should kill him.
It should kill them, right?
That's a direct change from PvP, no question.
And it affects the PvE experience so heavily. And I think about the new players that are going to come in that don't understand why they did this. Like, if I wanted to, I could sit down and go, I get it. I'll just play more PvP, I guess, and then I'll enjoy my narrative games elsewhere, because that's really what it comes down to me. For me, I'd much rather...
You're saying it should be the opposite.
There's so many good PvP, like Overwatch. I'm sorry, it's so good. Overwatch is great. I love that game. And when we were playing last night, it was last night, as soon as you got off stream, Cyborg, shameless plug, as soon as you got off stream, I jumped into Overwatch because I was like, I need to get a super. I need to do something where I can get a super. And it's just such a good PvP, and it's built, and it's balanced, and it's not fighting any other game modes to be balanced. It just is balanced, and I love it. And I don't...
Comic relief. I love when my Fitbit tells me it's almost time for bed when we're not close to the end of the show.
Well, okay, so let me do this.
Constructive feedback. How do we... what's the fix for this? I think
we've made our position on these things clear about how we feel about it. If we're going to offer suggestions for how to fix, let's say, number 1, super ability charge times. Do you guys think the solution is overall lower the time for a natural super to come through, or would it be more effective for PvE for you to obtain more super charge from enemies killed and orbs to give you more opportunities and keep the charge time the same? And then on the other hand, in PvP, would it be more effective for the same? When you're obtaining more kills, you get more super energy, or do you think that the charge time just needs to be lower?
I'll say after Blue and I's conversation, I feel like the super charge time could very easily be balanced separately. I'll say if they don't want to balance it overall separately, they can do what you just said. You get it different ways in each mode. In Destiny 1, I would have been like, I said probably many times, kills should not let you build your super because then it promotes steamrolling. But at the same time, we have another issue now of everyone getting their super at the end. Like we mentioned, something has got to vary when you get your super more than it is right now in the beta, because you guys are exactly right. Everyone gets it at the same time. I feel like
the way they've got it balanced right now, you've kind of hit on it. The little amount of super that you get is so inconsequential that it prevents people being able to steamroll. Even if you got 15, 20 kills, you're still not getting it for 4 or 5 minutes, dude.
You go back and watch those videos from IGN. I watched them several times. It's like he got on a multi-kill and he still didn't get his super
every time they got their super.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah. So something's got to vary it up a bit in PvP. I think, killing minions of the darkness, something in PvE, whether they just balance it flat out differently or change it, the cooldown time or the charge time, you got to get it more in PvE. Like that's the whole point. Like you're popping, you're a superhero. Like you're killing aliens. I don't know if you guys noticed, but even the orbs of light give you significantly less super when you pick those up in PvE.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I was picking them up and I was like, that's it? Like, God, how long is it going to take, dude?
Now, I did notice in the mission, which I've now played, half a dozen times, unless you sit and farm orbs at that section with Zavala, you only get 3 supers in that, period. And I found the average run time on it is somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes. Because there's a lot of times where they have to stop and talk to you and stuff. So it runs like 25 to 30 minutes. I'm sitting there going, I get three supers and like a super every 10 minutes ish. That seems slow. Like that seems really slow to me. Like the whole point of this game is to throw these things around. And it just sort of felt to me that it was really, really slow.
It's funny because I'm sitting here thinking again that we're not even playing the current state of the game. And then I'm also remembering, like we mentioned last week, like it's like we want to be excited. We don't want to pick apart a beta, but again, they asked for feedback. And I mean, that's the point of what we're supposed to do, is provide constructive feedback. And I think, I mean, as long as we're coming up with possible solutions and the reason we love this game and the things that we think may not be the best changes, I mean, that's the whole point, right? And Blue, if you feel that way, you have, what'd you say, over 2,000 hours into Destiny? Like, you play and love this game for a reason, so your feedback is more than valid, right?
I'd like to think
For
so.
sure.
I sure hope so.
Yes.
He's a guest on the show.
I would agree. I would agree. So it's like, you got to listen to that. You know, if you're feeling that way, I mean, something feels different to you in this game you've put over 2,000 hours in. So,
all right. Well, overall,
there you go.
I had a great time this week. All this stuff withstanding.
I did too.
Especially so because of the PvP modes that were there. Gave me a ton of fun with my buddies and clan members and everybody else that I played with. And so I hope that same fun is there when the game proper releases. I hope they're able to work out this particular, I think, biggest issue that we're talking about,
right?
Which is charge times on abilities.
Dude, we didn't even mention I think the key word in this beta and PvP, focusing on the PvP aspect, was team shooting. Oh my goodness. You realized very quickly the team play that needed to be accomplished in especially playing Countdown as much as we did. The team shooting and I mentioned earlier I got to go back and turn on the vibration on my controller, but I felt like my character, a lot like I mentioned with the Sentinel shield, like I felt like the weight to my character felt different than Destiny 1. But and the weapons, you know, I kind of mentioned like primary weapons felt like possibly a little weak, but I got to go back and play again before the beta is over, because did you guys feel that at all? Like, did you feel like the way your character felt to you felt different? Like, the only way I can describe it is like the weight of actually physically moving your character across the map. Did it feel different to you at all than Destiny 1? Like I don't know how to describe it other than like
slow
the weight of your character.
Now, first of all,
yeah, maybe that's it.
We're
slower.
slow.
I can't skate.
I know that absent skate. It bugs me.
Yeah,
makes me sad.
Yeah. I got to go back. It seems like such a silly thing, but I've got to go back and play with the vibration on my controller, because Cyborg, like you and I were talking before, like it's jarring for you to not play with vibration on your controller. And I didn't for the longest time, because it was like a pro tip that I saw somewhere or heard somewhere when playing PvP, because it can distract you. But at some point I turned it back on. So I think that might have contributed a little bit to this random thing that I'm talking about right now.
You might need your vibration on.
Yeah.
I want to bring up two things that we can't overlook. Number one, fusion rifles are outright broken in this build.
I have not even shot one yet.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Sorry.
Get a fusion.
Did you not get it to drop?
It never dropped for me. I don't play Warlocks, and even then, I only got power ammo once.
Yeah.
I have a lot more complaints about this that I'm choosing to leave out, okay?
Dude, I'll tell you what, power ammo took me a minute to get used to, but as a Titan, like, I figured out very quickly my role on the team was to drop that shield in front of the power ammo box and 100% make sure we secure at least one of them. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Fun.
Yep.
Sorry,
Cyborg,
fun
go ahead.
to go on a tear with fusion rifles, but gosh, I mean, we're talking about like multi-kills from one burst. Like, they are just very, very powerful.
I mean, think about them, though. They're in the same category as a rocket launcher. So it makes sense now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It made me wonder, like, the overall power of them. Like, I went on a tear multiple games with that shotgun, and I'm thinking to myself, like, instantly, like, wow, this is super overpowered. And then I'm like, well, wait a second. Only 2 people are going to have it. And it's probably going to need to be a little bit more powerful than what we're used to in Destiny 1. But I think the overall consensus with that fusion rifle, with the range accompanied with how many minimal amount of bolts needed to hit to, people were going on a tear with that thing.
Other thing I wanted to mention is this is the only moment this happened this entire week, but I was super red hot enraged at the Warlock jump. Oh my God, it is so terrible. I cannot
as a
stress
Warlock
enough
Go on.
how much worse they have made this jump. I will put my hand on the Bible right now. If they don't fix it, I will not main that class in Destiny 2. It is that broken. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what the aim is, but the way that they have changed jump canceling and how difficult it is to get out of that jump is just broken. It's outright broken, and I can't believe they haven't fixed it. I can't believe they didn't do anything differently, but made it even floofier in Destiny 2. I do not understand it, and I cannot do it. I will not do it for another 3 years. I swear to God, I will drop that class like a bad habit.
You'll probably end up being the only class that can dodge now. Guys, I gotta say though, like overall, even with the cooldown conversation, once we got on our team play in PvP and it really promoted like staying together and working as a team, and then that story mission, like I feel like we went on like a constructive rant for a minute. Like I had a good time. Like I really had a lot of fun playing the beta this week. I'm very interested to see the final product as far as the tuning goes, but I'm really feeling good about the story, and I really want to see more of the story. And then Blue, did we mention on this, or were we talking before the show that the 50 cutscene tweet?
Before the podcast, they tweeted out saying that they were no, it wasn't.
So there was
what was it from?
It's an article from Game Rant, and they were reporting on the panel that was done at Comic-Con this week, where they had a couple of the head writers. They had Luke Smith. They had Lance Riddick, the voice of Commander Zavala, and they brought up. They were talking about something, and one of the writers said, "Oh yeah, and there's like 52 cutscenes." And then he kind of backpedaled. He's like, "Well, I don't remember the exact number, but there's at least 50." That's awesome.
Yes, please. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into this campaign. When I loaded into that story mission again on Xbox, I don't know I've mentioned this on the show before. It's so fun to load up the game on other than your main console. I don't know why. It's the same game. That's why I can't wait to do it on PC. Just a different experience. But that story mission is just cool, dude. Like, I can't wait to play more. I cannot wait to play through the campaign. I'm just so curious of how it's going to be laid out and everything, because we're so used to just picking a node and going to a mission and back to orbit, picking a node, going to a mission. Like, I'm really curious to see how it's going to be laid out and what's going to be in there.
There's
very cool.
Too much to try to cover in one episode, I think, at the end of the day, but we have to talk about one last thing that's pertinent before we wrap this up, because we do need to wrap it up. But today, Sunday, we got to spend an hour in the social space. I know, Arrow, you missed it.
I didn't.
I'm very sorry.
I watched a video.
Blue.
Hopefully, Blue, you're wrong, and there isn't an emblem associated with it like there was.
I'm pretty sure there is. I'm fairly certain I heard that somewhere. But
Blue, I know you were there.
Oh well,
and you were there for a while. What do you
think?
A
little bit. It's neat. It's cool. I think the what is it? The soccer goals are going to add some fun. I can see a lot of people having some fun with that. And it's goofy. I used to spend a lot of time sitting in the tower with friends just talking. Like, it was instead of having Discord before I was a streamer, or whatever it was, I used to spend a lot of time just sitting in the tower, running back and forth, having conversations with people.
Yep.
And I like that they added in what kind of feels like couches and stuff. Like, there's that fire pit out on the dock and things, and it just sort of feels like there's places to kind of just hang out. And I thought that was really cool. It's a very interesting and cool social space. I 2 thumbs up. I'm happy with that. I could probably have put that into my top 3 stuff. I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed watching the ocean for a solid hour and a half while I recorded it.
And the Shard of the Travelers back there. From the video I watched, you guys will have to tell me, because the video we watched of Destin Legary's on IGN, like, he didn't get to go through a lot of it. Like, from what I saw, it's actually pretty large. Did you guys get that feeling?
It's a big space.
There's a bunch of little places.
The soccer field is big.
There's a bunch of places you can go.
People were worried it felt smaller than the tower.
No,
not at all.
Not at all.
I will say, in its credit, and like Blue is saying, there's a ton of explorable space. So I think when you're in there and you're like doing, like he says, like you're spending time in there, like chatting, you're waiting on somebody, or you're wrapping up the night, like you'll get to roam around a very large area, which I think is going to be fun.
Nice.
I think that isn't as big as the tower concept, might come from how far you had to run to get to every location in the tower.
Yeah.
Different
Like
thing.
everything was
That
so
makes sense.
spread out. And so if you took all those areas and mashed them together, and if the top area is open, which has been empty for a year now?
Right.
So you have that open top area, the area underneath with all the Vanguard, and you have both of the side things, and you actually flatten them all out into one plane. It might be comparable in size. But I mean, I think this area is bigger, and it has a lot of verticality. You can climb around on stuff.
Even
It's
with
cool.
that case, I would say it's still larger.
I'm pretty sure it's larger, but I didn't measure it. I spent.
Oh, you didn't measure it. Okay.
No, I didn't get out the counter or anything now.
Okay. But I would say
Nice.
my overall feeling, I think that I'm not going to be 100% sure about it until it is usable as a social space. And I'm saying that because I went in there not in a fire team and not in a party, just solo, and just wandered around, saw the whole thing, was a little bit underwhelmed. And I can't put my finger if it's because the palette, or if it's, I'm thinking.
Did you climb everything?
Yeah, I did all that, and that's cool. Like, I enjoy that, and I see the value in that. But I'm thinking of it as, this is the primary social space that we're going to spend most of our time in, right? And when you compare that to the tower, forget about the Rise of Iron social space, and forget about the Reef and all the other social spaces, because those all have different looks and feels. If this is the primary place we're going, I think it's kind of bland. And
maybe it's the versus the extravagant tower feel, and we're like makeshift buildings.
And that area makes you feel like you're in a unique place and time. Like, there's nothing like the tower. This area, it's got that kind of like reclaimed, taken over by time, and then you're kind of resettling it, and so that's kind of a cool aesthetic and whatever, but it doesn't have the regality that the tower has, and
there's no significance to it except it's a
but I'm
temporary
totally
place
reserving
for us
judgment
right now.
until it's full of vendors and activities and people and the moment at which you're there. I'm not going to say I hate it, but I'm not 100% in love with it right now. So I think I need to see it in the game.
There you go. That works.
Fair enough. You're wrong, but fair enough.
I mean, I might be, but I wasn't 100% sold, but that's okay.
There was no NPCs there.
I mean,
Maybe that's what you were missing.
And it felt like really empty and kind of like a ghost town. I was like, well, I may feel better about this when there's like people I'm going to see. There's there's ships landing, all this stuff like that might make it feel like a cooler space for me. I don't know.
I did have that moment like when they went up to the Cryptarch, and it's like, wow, it literally is just like a makeshift tent.
I found a lot of space. Found the Eververse spot. Found the Cryptarch spot. Found the Dead Orbit spot. Found the Crucible and the Vanguard spots. Well, not Vanguard, but like an armory spot, I think. So I don't know. Anyways,
well, that's good feedback, though. That's good feedback. I guess we'll throw it out too to the listeners and the Derp fam. Tweet at us on what we've talked about and/or how you felt about the beta. Let us know. We're always curious.
Well, speaking of,
and if you want to see a time lapse of the skyline, I have no idea why I made this video, but go to my YouTube page. There's this really weird thing.
I love those time lapse videos.
Just look for Pocahontas.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It's
really weird.
short,
It's
though.
probably the weirdest
It's like
video I've ever made.
watch.
It's not even a minute long. It's funny though. I don't know. I got such a kick out of making it, and I know it's stupid.
That's right. We like you, even though you're stupid.
I think that's how most people are.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's wrap this show up, guys. Let's get in some Dirt Fam discourse before we run out of time entirely.
Yeah, I think our audacity is going to force us to stop recording.
It's going to hit that paid trial limit.
It's a speak pipe week, man.
Who do we got first?
Mr. Matty Misfit. Let's take a listen.
What's going on, Guardians? Matty Misfit here. And I gotta say, after watching those Crucible videos, the thing I'm most excited about are the little touches. The things like Shaxx having class-specific hype lines. Like, how awesome is that? So I'm wondering if you guys have any other little touches that you think could be added that could really add to the game.
I mean, what would I want to see in this game? This is a little backhanded, but supers.
He said little things.
My bad. My bad. Little things.
Small things that make the difference.
Grenades? Oh, wait.
Oh, God. Come on.
Nah.
He's just taking the opportunity.
I know. I'm just taking the chance. I actually, one of the things that kind of hit it for me in this beta, and I think that the soccer goals in the social space are cool. It's complete. You want to talk about competitive or not competitive or just casual? Or like, that is the most casual thing ever, and I think it's great. I think it's gonna be a fun little way to spend time with your buddies, or if you play with your kid or something. Like, it's gonna be super relaxing and fun, and I think that's a really cool thing. So I guess what would you add that's small that would make it better? They already did, so I'm cheating a little bit, but I think that's a really cool thing that they've added in, and I look forward to.
I still want my card game.
Oh, that would be kind of neat.
Still want even if it's like the most like the easiest simplistic card game ever, some sort of card game would be cool with that fire pit on the couches, put a couple tables around there. I gotta say, something that a small thing that they could change, like Newscard, he told us this week that he did
taking you out of the menu fix
kicking you out of the menu. If they would please let us map emotes. I don't know if it's going to happen, but like, emotes are especially if the flashpoints that we're going to get every week and that's going to promote going to patrol. It's so fun to have those conversations with people with emotes that you never jump into a chat with or anything, a game chat or party chat. Like, I really wish I could map my emotes. I hope they do a little subtle update.
I will say, every other game that I play where there's any level of downtime, I'm mad that I don't have emotes. Like Fortnite. Great example where you're like, okay, when do we start this roundup? I don't know. And they did add some emotes in, but they're a little tougher to get to, so it's not quite the same. But it's.
I just want to spend more money on emotes. Like, I want to be able to map 4 of my own, not just one.
You just found the key to getting this thing done. Hey, Bungie, I want to spend money. I want to spend money. Make this happen so I can spend money.
You're talking to the guy, I think, that spent a total of $10 at Eververse. Maybe, but if I could map up to 4 emotes, I don't even need an emote wheel. Just let me map all 4 directional buttons. I would be thrilled.
Well,
anyways,
kind of on the track that you guys are on, I would like emotes that you have to earn through specific achievements.
Okay.
Ooh,
that would be cool.
Like, say you hit a certain rank with your
each hit a high tone
future
there.
war cult, or you pick up a emote that you can only get through the heroic raid final boss. Just stuff like that would be really, really cool.
That's cool.
Ways to like reward and differentiate yourself. Yeah,
I like that.
All right, we got another speak pipe from our buddy Dreadnought78. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Dirt Fam, Dreadnought78 here. I am so excited right now. It's Tuesday. I have the next few days off. I'm going to play the beta. I'm going to try the Sentinel Titan. I'm going to try the Arc Strider and the Dawn Blade. It's going to be awesome. But don't you play on Xbox, Dread? Hey, Bungie, what did you say? Don't you play on Xbox? Yeah, I do. Well, you can play it today. PS4 exclusive. Haha. Oh, well, that's cool. When can I play it? Wednesday, Dread. Oh, Wednesday at 12 a.m.? No, 1 p.m. Ha ha ha. Oh, well, that's cool, I guess. Thanks. Enjoy the Year 2 exclusives, Dread. Oh, are they out for Xbox? No, in October. Oh, well, doesn't Destiny 2 come out September 6th? Yeah, that's right. Thanks for your money. Okay, thanks, bye. Oh, thanks, Bungie.
All right, Dreadnought. Thank you so much for that hilarious speak pipe. Cyborg, I figure you might. I mean, you do have a PlayStation now, though, but
you know how I feel. He sent this in because he knows how I feel about it. I'm not as I don't think it's as big of a deal that the beta got held back a day.
It is kind of weird, though, right? That
we talked about it before because it allows them to not onboard everyone at once. Like they can do it at a little slower pace. And they are different systems, so that I think that they likely have different servers connecting to their respected online services, so they're different. But of course, there's going to be some salt about the exclusives coming to Destiny 1 that I'll never get to play on Xbox because it'll be in October, and I'm not going to be playing Destiny 1 after Destiny 2 comes out.
If you think about it, it is kind of weird, the ongoing conversation about PS exclusives, and then they make the beta. what for whatever reason, they make the beta PS4 exclusive. Like, that doesn't help.
Yep.
That's all right. Okay, we got another speak pipe from our good buddy, Inept Old Fart. We haven't heard from him in a little while. He sent us one speak pipe, I think. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Derp fam, Inept Old Fart here. My first impressions of D2 Beta is a mix of graphics of Minecraft with the gameplay of Destiny. The Titan male reminds me of Yosemite Sam with a helmet pulled down over his mutton chops and mustache. May be wrong on that. Dong Blade is just Titan hammers with instead of sword instead of hammers. Pole Dancer is just like the Arc Blade on a Hunter. It's not much different there. But like I said, the graphics is a cross between Minecraft and Destiny. I hope the actual game is much better. The game compadre is about the same, except the strike. I'm a lousy player, and I was the top shooter in the strike we ran, so we had a little bit of problem with it, I guess, maybe. Anyway, stay in there.
Mr. Fart, we appreciate your speak pipe and your unique perspective on Destiny 2. I wouldn't go as far to compare the graphics to Minecraft, but they are different. I think the main complaint that people have with the graphics is when you're in third person mode, your player character and everything around you still has that kind of washed out effect that you get in Destiny 1. Does that make sense? When I'm in Destiny 2, however, and I'm playing a story mission or whatever, everything looked fantastic. So maybe it's that lack of consistency with the graphical fidelity that is bothering people.
I gotta say, we gotta give a shout out to Inept Old Fart too. He left us one speak pipe because we asked him to a while back, but I can't remember his age for sure. But I feel like he is a pioneer, leading where we will eventually extremely populate the older generation of gamers.
Absolutely.
For sure. I love it. But thanks for the speak pipes, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Speak pipe.
Yeah. So,
we need some emails.
Discourse, the time of the show where you get to sound off. So if you have a question you would like to hear us answer, a discussion topic, or maybe you want to tell us your thoughts on something, or even a story about something positive you've seen go down the community, you can reach out either via email, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com, or via SpeakPipe at speakpipe.com/destinyreset. All right.
Do it.
Do we have any shout outs for our patrons this month, AER0KNIGHT?
We do. DerpFam patron shout outs. The first of 3 this week. ImTheBlueRanger. Thank you, sir. We're so glad you're here to accept this award.
Well, I mean, right now on Twitch.
Thanks so much, dude.
You guys know I'm a stream guy and I like Twitch and stuff. all my friends have become affiliates and things, and it's been awesome. And I'm trying to spread the love with subscriptions and things. And I realized that if you guys had that sub button, I'd sub to it. And there's 2 of you, so I figured I'd throw some subs down. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, thanks for the support, buddy.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for supporting me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Of course.
We also got to give a shout out to Crimson Warrior. He's a regular in your fire team, right, Cyborg?
As we call him.
And Fluffy Fingers MD. Thank you guys so much.
Dudes. Yeah,
really
thanks.
Appreciate
it. If you don't know, when we're talking about patrons, we have what's called a Patreon account where community members that would like to support us monetarily can do so for as little as $1 a month. So if that's something that you think you would like to do, we appreciate that support. It goes towards things like hosting fees, the giveaways that we do, and all the weird expenses that somehow come up with having a podcast. It's more than you actually might think. And we broke $100 this month in support, and that means so much to us. It literally does make a real difference, because that's stuff that that is support that was basically coming out of Aaron and I's pocket every month and every year. So, which we're always happy to do, but it's so nice that we have people that support us and can do that. So thank you guys so much for your support. Finally, if you want to participate in that, you can go to patreon.com/Destiny Reset. All right.
Awesome.
Let's wrap this thing up, guys. It's time to go to bed.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I think my Fitbit told me that half an hour ago.
All right. Blue, tell us where people can find you, man.
You guys can find me at ImTheBlueRanger pretty much everywhere. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, everything. I'm all over the place. The stream schedule is down to about 2 days a week because I think I mentioned it earlier. I'm working on my health and enjoying the summer, and those days are actually getting a little sporadic. So follow me on Twitter at ImTheBlueRanger if you want to catch a stream. We'd love to have you. We've got a great group of people. So come by, check it out, and we'll talk. Love seeing the Derp fam around.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, and Arrow, where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter at TheArrowKnight, and YouTube and Twitch. It is ArrowKnight, and try to stream a couple days a week, like Cyborg yourself has been doing. And I sported the webcam the night before the beta.
You did. I was so proud of you. I
finally
dropped in.
I know it's
late last Friday. And
boom. I know it's like, what, dude?
Boom.
What? I mean, seriously, it's not that big a deal, but I did. I finally did it. So
that beautiful baby face right on screen. What nights are you typically streaming?
If possible, they will be Fridays and Mondays, with the occasional Wednesday Cyborg and I would like to stream together. But as you guys know,
that's right,
our schedules can be kind of sporadic, so stream when we can.
Yeah. Yep. So you can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter, and also twitch.tv/CyborgSasquatch. Like Arrow's been talking about, we've been streaming a lot more. I've been setting up my stream and going live at least on Tuesday and Saturday nights, and I've been having a great time. Thank you guys, everybody that's been stopping by, following, hosting, rating. Very kind of you. Hoping that everybody that's coming is having a good time hanging out. And like Arrow mentioned, we're trying to do Wednesday streams, basically like co-op style stuff. So even if we're not streaming Destiny on a Wednesday, it could be like we're trying to get together to do the Gears of War campaign, or we just picked up Fortnite that I'm hoping to be playing with my buddy Blue here and my friend Darth.
Nice.
So you can look forward to a little variety there too.
You reminded me. I gotta give a shout out. I streamed PvP, the Destiny 2 beta, for like 6 hours Tuesday night, and people hung around for so long. Thank you so much. Yeah. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And when did Fortnite come out?
The 21st.
I have no idea, recently.
Okay, dude, I remember. I watched stuff on that game forever ago, and I'm like, man, that looks fun. But
finally came out.
Yeah, I saw something recently about it, but I didn't realize like it was out and ready to go. I'll have to look at that.
It's fun.
It was
awesome.
Indeed.
Let me know if you like it. How you like it.
All right. Well, that's
Blue,
it
thanks
this week,
again
guys.
for joining us, buddy.
You know it.
Always
I
welcome.
forgot to do my thing, tell people where they can find us. We got off track.
That's all right.
At Destiny Reset on Twitter or www.destinyresetpodcast.com. Go check it out. That's it.
All the links are there. All right. Until next week, have fun playing Destiny and take care, Guardians.
I can't wait to see what you're going to do with that.
Fight forever, Guardians!
That was good, dude.
My neighbor upstairs is going to hate me.